And the next one up, as we take a look at the brackets, is going to be between Howie and iFrank. What do we know about these two gentlemen?
Well, iFrank is coming into this as an alternate because one of the players couldn't actually make it to the tournament. So he is definitely, if there was an underdog in this tournament, that would be the one. So it'd be fun to see him go as far as he possibly can, I'm not going to lie. But I mean, Howie being a very, very strong competitor, I think it's going to be tough for him to get through it.
And by the way, Childish, iFrank being an alternate, a guy that 100% nobody prepped for.
No, definitely. And it's funny enough, I actually got a chance to play with him not even like 12 hours ago. Did in a best of 3. Unfortunately, I lost, but he brought some unique monsters into my team. He took me out really, really quickly.
All right. Well, we're going to have a chance to see some of those unique build-outs as iFrank gets to work. What do we know about Howie, by the way, guys?
With respect to Howie, unfortunately, I haven't done a lot of homework when it comes to his strategy here, but I think that's how he wanted it. It was hard for us to truly get out there and try to figure out. He stayed under the radar, and I'm liking that because now he can come up here, an unknown, and really do some damage.
How much does prep go into being able to win a match? Obviously, as you mentioned right now, Uberino looked like he had done a significant amount of prep in facing Foy. I mean, the way he was just ready to answer everything from the draft to the actual battle. If you have a guy who's prepped and a guy who's not, how big a difference is it as far as, you know, the same monster box going in?
I think there's two ways to look at it. Sometimes you can over-prep, which may have been what Simbudi did previously, because I know he was working a lot in his counters and how he was going to be taking control of his match. And
which didn't work out.
It didn't work out, obviously. Yeah. But Uberino, actually, in his interview, he said that he didn't really prep too much, and he just kind of went out there and did the best that he could, and it ended up working out in his favor. So it can kind of go both ways, but it looks like you know, we are ready for this next match, so let's get it underway here.
Indeed, as we go back down to the arena and welcome in Howie, the under-the-radar man from right here in New York City.
My name is Howard Wen. My in-game name is Howie. I am 31 years old. I'm from New York City, and my occupation is financial services. I play board games with my friends, you know, every other Friday night. And specifically, you know, it's Euro-style board games. So it's not like your Monopoly type of thing. It's more of a how do you coexist with each other, but also gain that competitive edge. I also like to ski, and I'm a alternative currency enthusiast. So Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, you know, I like to follow that stuff.
Well, getting yourself deep into Summoner's War can be expensive, so some of that cryptocurrency 1,000, 2,000% markups may be helping him as he builds out his runes. And here comes the man he's going to be facing. It is from Montreal, Canada, iFrank30.
My name is Francis Gravel. My game name is iFrank30, and I'm from Montreal, Quebec, and I work as a financial analyst in real life. I feel like most people here came from a lot of different backgrounds. Doesn't mean you have to be a gamer to be good at Summoner's War. For instance, I did a lot of sports during my life. I did track and field sprints. I played football for a while. Now I'm doing road bike. And I think that's defined who I am. You know, I come from sport fields, and it really helps me in the Summoner's War game because I do exactly the same thing. You know, I do my research. I train, I would say, by farming my runes. You know, so it's kind of the same thing, and I can do both at the same time.
And iFrank used to be a master-level StarCraft player back in the days in 2010. We've already advised everyone in rows 1 through 3, though, that he claims that when he loses, he rages a lot, so take cover. We could see some flying tablets.
I think we might want to see that. Maybe a little action going on.
Wouldn't that be great? Just see one rifled into row 6.
Tell you what, all I can say is I'm glad I'm over here on this side.
Yeah. Well, something tells me iFrank has got himself together and prepped for this. Super excited as an alternate to have this opportunity to face off against Howie, who is obviously very under the radar, as you mentioned, Childish. Going to be difficult for either of these guys to have prepped for one another. So we are moments away from the draft getting started here. And iFrank talks about his favorite character being Raccoony, just a 3-star, but he's all about it. And we've seen Raccoony employed very effectively as a support monster and with other units built out synergistically around him. hates Ganymede, by the way.
He does.
Says it's way too broken.
I feel like that's a trend throughout. If you don't have Ganymede,
Right.
you hate
Well,
Ganymede.
as soon as you pick up a Ganymede, you're like, I love Ganymede.
Right.
Although there are a few players that understand that, Ganymede it's an extremely powerful monster for real-time arena, and we saw a full match without Ganymede even chosen.
Yeah,
So
this is true. So it's not impossible.
not impossible, but
iFrank
definitely
says
harder.
he likes to hide behind a Wusa shield and Raccoony heals and survive. That's the way he describes his approach to the game. Meanwhile, Howie, who we see there on your screen, says other gamers describe him as being sarcastic, a jokester, and a helpful player who plays a balanced play style. So we'll see if that rings true as we get the draft underway. First pick going to Howie.
All right, yep. Howie lands that first pick with regards to Wusa here. iFrank is going to take his time. He has 12 seconds to decide who he's going to go ahead and throw out, considering what he has. All right, I like the choice here with regards to Tiana. He's looking to take away that immunity from Wusa if Wusa gets the first turn, and then follow through with a Varad here. Clay, what do you think he should be looking to do despite what has iFrank laid out so far?
I don't know. He's gotta be careful because he has only one immunity buff right now.
Right.
He goes with the Hathor, which is a really good choice into Varad, being a wind monster with a huge resistance leader skill that he can break out as well. And Frank now has got to figure out if he wants to continue the support train or maybe go a little bit more YOLO with having the Perna showing. And looks like he is going to bring a little bit more damage now, pulling out Gemini and Mo Long. But as we're kind of waiting for them to pick their monsters, we see that even though Frank is an alternate, it looks like he finished a little bit higher in RTA last season with having 2,000 points compared to Howie's 1975. So even though he's an alternate, don't count him out just yet.
He's definitely done his work here. It looks like Howie's going to be mixing it up, bringing in a unique monster here. Oh my goodness, we got Orion locked down, and of course now we have iFrank waiting to see what he's going to pick. Could he pick maybe Ciara to get the first turn to help out if if Gemini gets banned? What do you think, Clay?
I don't know. We got that Dark Sky Dancer, though, from Howie. Like we talked about it in the past, we love to see those random, unique units. Obviously, a strong unit for RTA as well. And goes in with the Fire Hell Lady.
Interesting choice there. I like the choice despite what we got. See here with regards to that Perna, Raki is a great counter when it comes to Perna, being able to not allow it to revive. And so I guess we can definitely understand that iFrank is going to leave that Perna in. He's going to take away the Hathor, which I think is a really good choice, bringing a lot of control, and then of course that resistance lead that we were talking about earlier, being able to lock it down, not letting him get his harmful effects in.
Yeah, the resistance leader is so crucial when it comes to RTA, but it looks like the ban goes down onto Tiana and Orion were the final pick. So even though he was hovering over the Hathor lead, he does go ahead and ban Orion, which may or may not have been a good decision for him. We'll see how it plays out, but he still gets the speed leader there from Gemini as far as iFrank is concerned, and Howie's still deciding whether he wants to go with he decides to go with the speed leader instead of the resistance leader.
Yeah, I think it's a good choice here. Remember, Wish of Immortality providing immunity and shield. This is going to put a damper on Gemini's strategy. Gemini can only remove one buff. If it does not get the will out, that's going to set iFrank back.
And just as you said there, Childish, Wusa does get the first turn combination right into the third skill from Hathor.
Yeah, I guess a clutch sleeps on the Gemini and Raki. So now iFrank is definitely having to sit back and try to figure out how he's going to be able to come out of this. His team that he was basically set to try to work down Perna, it looks like he got a couple of great stuns here, but once again, he got some of the other the other units on his team holding back here when it comes to these two-turn sleeps, so he's going to still have to wait. Okay, it looks like he's going to try to get the sleep in. Nice, locks it down for Molan. Molan going to have to wait one more turn. Of course, Varad is still in here, trying to get a freeze on Wusa. Of course, Perna was already stunned, wasn't able to get it done. Now we have to wait and see. I believe it's Wolfyong here, the Dark Sky Dancer here. Can Wolfyong get a skill off? The third skill can do some great damage, but of course there's no defense breaks in, despite the fact that of course he's not bringing it in this team. So I guess he's just going to have to rely on some endgame play by Hathor here.
Do you think it was a little interesting that iFrank used both of the second and third skill from Varad against Howie when he had a couple immunity buffs still up from the Hathor and the Dark Sky Dancer there.
Yeah, I think that's a great choice. I know it's generally we don't want to do that, but again, he is sitting back. He had that Gemini and Iraqi lockdown. He needs to do anything that he can to try to get back to square one and try to lock down some of his opponents so that he can get some time in to reset completely.
Yeah, so he does leave the Perna in there because he wants to use Rocky right now, and exactly why she was picked from iFrank, and now that Perna does get to, does not get to revive. Of course, I thought it was going to proc its passive, but of course does not. And here we go. Mo Long taking out the Dark Sky Dancer, and iFrank is looking really, really strong here now, just having to finish off the rest of the two supports here. Both the threats now completely out of the match.
Looking extremely good right now, considering how 2 of his 4 units were locked down completely. He has definitely turned it around. The match is in favor to iFrank now. Considering what we got currently, does he work down Hathor for us, or does he provide that immunity to try to counter what we're seeing from like a Virat here?
I think he's got to keep his second skill on Mo Long, but he does not. He goes for it. He does get the stun on the monster that he needed to get the stun on, and he'll be able to take it down before. I'd say it's a little bit risky, though, because if he didn't land the stun, that Wusa could have potentially put up the immunity for the rest of the turn. But iFrank coming out of nowhere, taking down the first game, 1-0.
The alternate up 1-0 against Howie. And you see him, he looks a little shell-shocked, not sure what exactly happened there. What adjustments are we going to see out of Howie if he hopes to prevent a similar fate in the second game, Childish?
Honestly, I don't know if he needs to really make an adjustment. It looks like he had kind of control of the fight, but unfortunately just RNG wasn't in favor. iFrank was able to turn around. I don't know. What do you think, Clay?
You calling it an RNG outcome there?
I don't think it was an RNG outcome.
No.
I think iFrank just outplayed him in that situation. I'm not sure that the Dark Sky Dancer really was as dominant as it should have been, so I'm going to be interested to see if Howie does bring it out again. Of course, he had that speed leader to get the Wusa to move first, which is very crucial. But iFrank now getting the first turn, able to take his Wusa, which I would assume is extremely fast, because Wusa having that huge base speed should be able to take first turn and hopefully not have to worry about Hathor on Howie's side.
Yeah, but looks like we got a couple of units ready to go on Howie's side. Had that Hathor and Perna locked down. He has about 17 seconds to decide what he's going to do to try to counter what he currently sees from iFrank bringing that Mo Long and Tsarian combination. Tsarian, of course, being able to silence Perna's passive that can take him out right away. The Orion is setting here. Ooh, he gets Orion and Veladrul here. Okay, he's bringing the immunity. I like the choice, considering if he's going to lay out the Tsarian. Does that give a little bit away, Clay, as far as bringing the immunity, considering what Tsarian can do?
I don't think it gives too much away. I think it's a smart choice from Howie, because last game he picked the Wusa, so he had some sort of immunity buff.
Right.
Now, this game, he got that Wusa stolen, so he brings the Veladrul, which is, of course, a strong pick. But iFrank now locking in double immunity buffs, plus his favorited Raccoony, and we are going to see some Raccoony action here.
We're going to see some interesting stuff. Both, we got even so much Raccoony. Let's talk about Delphoy here and Chilling, 2 monsters that we haven't seen drafted yet as of right now.
Let's talk about Howie's avatar, because it's making me hungry. Is that a double-double from In-N-Out?
I don't know.
Looks
I don't eat
delicious.
In-N-Out. Howard, you're going to have to tell me later, my man, because that looks really good right about now.
So the Raccoony showing up for iFrank, one of his favorite monsters. He likes pairing it with the Wusa.
Yeah, he's a big fan of the Resurge or command type monsters, Raccoony, Olivia, any unit that can provide that ability to resurge a unit, get the attack power to 100% so he can generate a turn, get in front of his opponents there. It's a really nice unit to bring to his team.
So the bans are down, Mo Long is out, and so is Chilling, which I believe is a great option for Frank to ban out. So even though Chilling being a less common monster, it's still very niche, and it would have been an extremely crucial monster for Howie's team. But now we have the double immunities in, as well as the sustainability from both. Well, you have the Raccoony, you also have Delphoy, and you have the heals from Wusa as well for iFrank. And on Howie's team, you really just have one, which is the heal from Perna from his passive.
Right. Definitely a lot of sustainability.
Hathor out there as well.
Yeah, Hathor trying to do work here, but of course we got immunity on 2 out of the 4 opponents, or 2 out of 4 units. but he still goes for it. Delayed a promise. Can he get the lockdown on Wusa? Yes, he can. Nice job. It looks like we got a resistance there on Delfoy with regards to the attack bar reduction, but he did get the sleep there. All right, it looks like Howie is trying to remove that immunity off of Raccoon so he can work it down. Didn't get it done, but it's okay as Perna's trying to follow through, doing work. Of course, once again, iFrank bringing a lot of sustainability. He's going to have to get a couple of violent procs, I think, in order to take him down.
Does research the Delfoy to get that back in the game as soon as possible. And, of course, can't land the Oblivion onto Perna with Tessarian with the immunity buff from Velijoul.
Let's see that. He's looking back, trying to still work down that Perna. This is a great, interesting, one thing to point out here when it comes to iFrank's composition here, he knows that Howie has a really, really strong Perna, so having two types of immunity by means of Wusa two types of reset by means of Tessarian and Delfoy here, he's going to have an option either, if one of them got banned, and so now, despite the fact that he has the one turn immunity, I still think he's going to be able to work him down, but we might even get the kill on it, and he might still have to deal with another life on Perna.
I would say as soon as Frank gets Perna out of the match, that's it.
That's it. It has to
That's it. Whether he has to kill it once or twice, he may have to kill it twice because he can't remove the immunity off of Perna with Velijoul proccing as much as he is. So he may just have to kill it twice, but as soon as he gets that down, it's going to be game over. So he does kill it once, does not land any sort of Oblivion or skill reset from Delfoy, and that Perna doing some massive damage. They're taking over 50% of HP out of the Delfoy. Now Hathor is starting to work on Delfoy as well. He knows that's a strong monster in Frank's matchup right now.
But without the Perna, Howie really doesn't have any chance, doesn't have the attack that he needs to get through.
He doesn't have the sustain. And at this point, with Frank having so much sustain on his team, that's all he needs to do is take out Perna, and he knows that, so that's why he's even attacking it with a wind monster Delfoy that really can't do too much damage, but anything he can get put on it.
But that's how urgent taking the Perna out is for Frank. It's really the match.
That's how vital it is, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, looks like the late promise is up. Is he going to be able to lock it down? This
Drum roll.
Wow.
He missed the Delfoy. I don't think Delfoy has the skill up just yet, though.
Yeah, I think it needs one more turn, but we'll have to wait and see. Delfoy bringing a third skill that's going to provide a cleanse, immunity, and a 20% heal. So this is very important if he can get it. Wow, he does take it out. Nice job by Howie. We're sitting here in favor of Howie. 4 monsters to 3. All units locked down with 2 turns of sleep here. And of course, it looks like Raccoon being the one that can provide that cleanse when it comes to his passive. I think that's going to be the one to focus on, Clay.
Absolutely, but Frank playing very, very smart. Able to resurge the Wusa, but that Perna is doing absolute work on Raccoon there, but I don't think it's enough. I think Raccoon is going to go down, leaving just Tessarian and Wusa now against 4 monsters from Howie.
But it's not over yet, is it?
It's not over yet. He did get the violent proc
Down goes
from
the Perna.
Tessarian, down goes Perna, but he's not in the same position that he was previously, so it could still go either way, especially with that Hathor landing as many debuffs as it is.
Right. Let's see what we got going on here. We got both of the units locked down. Looks like Wusa is going to have to set back and wait for Velijoul to take out the Tessarian. A couple of additional procs here. Delayed promise is in. He did land it. Nice work. Okay, Orion is still going to stay on that Tessarian here. Got the violent proc, I believe. No, he did not. But either way, Tessarian is down, and it looks like iFrank has forfeited. The match goes to Howie.
Premature forfeit, Clay? You have a look on your face about it.
No, I think it was over from there. As soon as Tessarian went down, of course, just having Wusa as a support monster, there's no way that it would have been able to win. But
So the look was more to do with the fact that Howie ended up lasting, even though had the Perna been taken out twice before some of the other developments, it looked like it was going to be iFrank's match to lose.
yes, iFrank definitely had control of the match, I would say, at the beginning, but that Hathor coming in with the full team sleep, really, that was the turning point of that game.
And I forget who it is that Frank ended up banning in lieu of Hathor in this particular spot. Was it the...
I do not remember. I can't remember, but hopefully we'll have to see.
It was the chilling.
Yes,
Chilling, correct,
yeah.
correct. Chilling was banned. Yep.
You're learning. You're doing good.
My man Ali. Here we go. Here, iFrank locking it down here with Wusa, and now we have Howie to decide, bringing in the Hathor Perna comp combination here. Nope. He decides to set back here and lock down Tiana. Of course, iFrank not going to waste any time. Wants to get that chilling away, and then of course bring in the Olivia, which is one of the units that he has talked to me on the side and really, really enjoys. But wait a second, he does not lock it in. He's looking at that Wusa, but he's deciding 15 seconds to go. Wusa going to be a really, really unique monster to incorporate, but we'll have to wait and see. I want him to bring back Olivia, guys. I ain't going to lie. I want him to bring her back.
Still hasn't locked down, but it looks like Frank has won the coin toss, so he does get the first pick in this final game. However, both players losing each game that they got the first pick, so it may not be as much as an advantage as you probably would think.
Yep. One thing to note here, the first 3 monsters that iFrank pick are water, then the first 2 from Howie's win, so he got the elemental advantage, but then again, iFrank is always thinking 2 steps ahead here, so he's going to be bringing a little bit more sustainability. I think that's a great choice here, but man, looking at what he's kind of currently laying out here, I think it's going to probably be pretty obvious who he should ban, Clay. What do you think?
For Frank's side?
Frank's side, or so for Howie's to ban.
Howie's to ban, yeah, I think it's pretty obvious who he's going to ban. I would say, in my opinion, I don't know if you're thinking the same way, but I think it's going to be the Molong. That's the only damage that he has really on his team, and then the rest is just support. So obviously he's going to be looking at banning the Molong. He banned it the second game as well. Yeah. But for Frank's strategy, he's very, very similar, I would say, to Sin Booty, just kind of bringing all the supports, similar to Fwa bringing all the supports as well. And Howie more of the bruiser approach, and so far it's been working for Howie on the second game, so we'll see if it carries out to game 3.
Yeah, we'll definitely see. Howie definitely needs to try to get the first turn, but it looks like Frank has something else to say about that, banning the Tiana away, and of course Howie answering with the Molong ban like we predicted. It looks like iFrank's going to lock down the accuracy lead, and I would imagine, of course, Howie, as you guys can see right here, providing that resistance, he wants to make sure that nothing gets reset with respect to Delphi.
I don't know about these choices from Frank, to be completely honest with you, having so much support and so little damage. Of course, the chilling can come back and potentially do a lot of damage. He does get the first turn from Wusa, though, even with the speed lead from Samath helping out that Hathor.
Yeah. I don't know. You know, it's kind of funny. With regards to iFrank's particular strategy, and we've had this proven from Sin Booty quite a bit early on in RTA. He's talked about playing the clock with regards to his opponents, and I think that that is what iFrank is trying to do. Despite the fact that he's bringing a lot of support here, we got a unit like Chilling that can actually do a ton of additional damage when he has these beneficial effects. And of course, if he has it built on speed, he's going to be able to do a little bit more damage as well. This could be pretty interesting.
Yeah, he did get the reset on Samath, so he's able to just kill it once, and then he's going to have that reset skill back up from his Delphoid to land it on the Perna, which is the same basic ability where they come back, you know, from the dead. And I would say the only thing he's got to worry about is also resetting the Amarna. As long as he can keep the immunity up from Wusa, he may actually be looking at resetting the Hathor next.
Yeah, if you notice there, Howie actually went for that Chilling to remove all his beneficial effects of Sleepy. He got it in, but of course, Olivia had something to say about that, getting that researching type effect, getting Chilling right back up into the mix, and now we're sitting back to see what he's going to go ahead and do.
Go ahead and put the immunity up. Yep. Absolutely right. You need to be chaining those immunity buffs, especially with that Hathor in the mix, because as soon as he doesn't chain it correctly, that timing's thrown off just once, that Hathor's going to break in and completely just mess up his entire plan.
So far, we've seen sound execution out of iFrank, but it's still hanging in the balance despite him being up 4-3, especially with that Perna looming.
Absolutely. Perna's also still, but Amarna, a monster that we don't really see very often on the right-hand side there, the Light Anubis, does have the capabilities of reviving his allies.
So unlike last match, or unlike last game, how he isn't all in on the Perna, it's not necessarily hinging on him keeping that unit alive.
Correct. And now here we see the Hathor being able to break in through that immunity buffs. And it's leaving Frank, again, kind of in a similar position where he was last time, where he had the advantage early. Now his full team is stunned, or slept, rather.
Yeah, and of course, as we were talking right there, he actually got a reset from Delphi to Amarna, so right now Amarna cannot revive that 4th unit, so it looks like he's going to go ahead and resurge Chilling to get those speed and critical rate buffs in. and that's a crucial component. We've talked about it quite a bit, Clay, throughout the tournaments that you and Ali have been casting. Speed is king when it comes to these players.
Yeah, now he also got the reset on Perna, which is exactly what he was looking for. He needs to just take out the Perna, and then a whole lot of damage, violent procking. That Perna was able to make quick work of Delphoy, so iFrank's got to be really careful now because he doesn't have a second immunity buffer to chain with Wusa, and we have that Hador now having the sleep ability up, the third skill. Next turn, he's got to take down this Perna right now, and then he's got to turn towards that Amarna. Otherwise, that Amarna is going to be reviving everybody and it's going to put him in a really, really bad situation.
So down goes the Perna as it's 3-2 in favor of iFrank right now, but Howie by no means out of it.
Yeah, it looks like he got one more turn on his main skill to be able to revive.
Gets the violent proc, does not decide to revive his teammates just yet.
Taking a time with that, but then, you know, he can't sit back on that. Remember that they did take out Delphoy already. Delphoy's the one that's going to be able to reset. He's not in a hurry, but now he may be second-guessing himself. As you can see, we got the attack reduction.
I think it's just going to be fine because I actually really like that play from Howie. He's got the full team sleep now. He's going to revive his whole team, and he's going to be able to take down a couple monsters here. Right off the bat, I bet you anything, here he goes with his choice as Olivia. He decides to take out Olivia. Now he's going for Olivia a little bit more.
I think that's a great choice. If Olivia got the violent proc, he could essentially research somebody else, cleanse them so they can get another turn. Of course, he does take Olivia out. We're now sitting with Howie, 4 monsters to 2. I think Frank may have to, I don't know, I don't think he can do it.
It's tough. He's got that reset now, and it's pretty much over. Yep, looks like Frank has decided to resign, and Howie playing very, very smartly there at that last match.
Well played.
No doubt about it. And so Howie will be moving on as we get back here. Guys, I was a little bit stunned at the way things played out in that decisive game there with iFrank not necessarily heeding the lessons from the previous games. I mean, he was executing well. It felt like he did, as you mentioned earlier, he threw the immunity up when he needed to. He was doing what he needed to do, but it just, things didn't work out for him.
Well, his whole strategy was to leave the Hador in, bring the double immunity buffs, and when that Hador was able to break in, that's all that Howie really needed to do. He just needed to last long enough where Hador could break in, and then he had the sustainability this time from not only just Perna, but also Amarna this time that he didn't have in Game 2, which kind of was maybe not the best strategy in Game 2 for Howie, but he was still able to take it, pull it off. But with Frank changing his strategy up, going with the double immunity, he was able to counterplay that very, very well. And the choices of skills was perfect.
Was it just a gamble that didn't pay off for Frank then, Childish, in the Game 3, leaving the Hador in there? Or like if you were sitting on his monsters, you would have approached things differently?
No, I think I would have probably done the same thing again. He really, even though Hador was in there, he brought the double immunity. He was really looking to counter it, but that's the name of the game. Sometimes RNG is not in our favor, and if he's able to cut in and get that Hador to land those skills, it could be the upset.
All right, let's send it down to Maria, who's standing by with Howie right now. Maria.
Howie, after losing the first game, what kind of immediate adjustments did you know that you have to make going into the second game?
Well, I knew that I wanted to bring a Reviver. Perna and Pisama obviously are really great picks. By him picking Wusa first, I thought Chilling would have been helpful, and Chilling is kind of a strong character, actually.
Well done, well played. Looking ahead, now you know you're going to be facing Uberino. What are your thoughts about that matchup?
I don't know. It's a coin flip.
All right, well, good luck. We'll see you very soon.
Thank you.